All right, so a big hi to the Learners Conclave family and the training fraternity on the whole. So we are back. This is Elroy Gonsalves, and we are all set for episode 2 of Conversations That Impact. So our speaker today is a child psychologist, a TEDx speaker, advisory at TEDed, founder at Lajja, and Rhines Academy. All right, let me keep the name a kind, it's not a suspense, but yes, let me put that on hold. But before we go ahead, I would request all of you to create watch parties, like this video, share this video, because I am sure that what we are going to experience over the next 1 hour is going to be simply magical. It's going to be a whole lot of learnings. I would like to thank all of you for making episode 1 a success. We've crossed over 1,200 views, and I'm sure this evening too, we are going to break even more records and cross 1,500 to 2,000. And I'm sure that's all in your hands. So make sure you share, make sure you like, and create watch parties. Watch it with your friends, watch it with your colleagues. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I gladly welcome Riddhi Doshi Patel.
Hi, Elroy.
Hi, hi, hi. All right, so we are all set to begin. Are you all set, Riddhi?
Yes, all set, and thank you for having me here, Elroy, on the Learners Conclave platform. Thanks to Asif, and it's kind of a privilege, The first was sharing, and second, I am on this platform. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Looking forward
Thank
to
you for
have some
coming.
conversation with you.
Yes, thank you for coming on the show. So today we are going to talk about Riddhi, and also what is it that companies can do, which is beyond just the employee. So I'm sure companies are doing a lot in trying to keep the employees engaged, at par with the rest, give them mental peace, wellness, everything. But now we need to think a little beyond the obvious. All right. So let us start with Riddhi. Okay. We are going to begin with your life and its exciting turning points. And among the many things that we know that you do, one thing that I would really like to introduce and bring out to the open, and that is Lajja.
Oh.
So tell us, what is Lajja all about, and how did you get into Lajja?
So Lajja is India's first forum for women, and me and my team, we have created a very non-judgmental space for women to talk, to share, to grow, and work on themselves. The seed for Lajja was kind of long back. A thought was seeded in me while I was in my college days, because
Mhm.
I belong to a very elite and very liberal family, wherein we talk to our parents everything. So we are four sisters, and we talk each and everything to our parents. We never found it difficult to discuss or share with them. But I used to see that my friends and all found it too difficult. Even they are going out for night parties or get-togethers with their friends. There was a kind of hitch out that they never used to share. They used to lie and come. And the best part was that I had guys also as friends, and we had such a friendship that they used to come to my house. Still, they come with their wives to meet my parents. So that was something in me, that why this disparity. And while I was out, my neighbors and all would tell my mom and my dad that बहुत लेट तक बाहर रहती है. You know how Mahal in Gujarat had been those days I'm talking about, in 90s and 20s. So many judgments used to happen. Thankfully, I was like given a very wonderful space wherein my parents used to trust me and my sisters. But not every parent was like this. And that's where, and I used to see that women had a lot of bottled up emotions. So it was not easy for them to share. Hence, Lajja started in 2014, December, and then there's no looking back. We're going good.
So, can you list out some of the activities that Lajja undertakes under
Yeah.
its banner?
So Currently, we have Laja Saat Ki Baat, so that every fortnight we invite somebody who has an inspired journey to share, who have something to, who can motivate people, or who has a life journey, which if or anybody, any
Mhm.
woman, say in an urban or rural area, if
Mhm.
उसको सुन के उसको 1% भी उसको inspiration मिल जाए, nothing more than that. So we have Saat Ki Baat. Then we have Laja Growth Platform, wherein a total hand holding happens for a woman who's into business. So right from A to Z, having mentors for them, their growth is monitored. Their mentoring is going to start from next week, so even that would be monitored. So it's kind of a completely hand holding for every woman entrepreneur I'm talking about. Then we have special bath happening today. Only we had Squadron Lieutenant Antrade. So she had a life journey. She had something to share, and it's very inspiring things that happens. We also have boot camps that are upcoming under Lajja. We have coffee meets that happens under Lajja. So monthly meets, we meet women. We talk about a lot of things. We have trainers who could come and talk about finance. You can come about time. You can come out a lot of other things wherein you can structure your life. So Lajja is all about development of self and your skills, in short, to sum it up. So as much
Okay.
as you can take up from this forum, the forum is all there to serve you.
Okay. I mean, you got a plate full, I must say. So tell me one, in all these things that you do, how do you actually manage all of it?
Okay, so everywhere, it be Rins or say it be Lajja, eventually process has been set. So Lajja's process had been set since a year now. So we had consultants on board, strategic consultants on board, and
Mhm.
they helped us to put the whole process on place. It was a difficult transit because we used to do things as and when we felt like doing it, so it was multiple time. But when we put the strategy and process on place, it has gone very easy for us. Rins was always on auto mode, so that was not much difficult to handle. But now Lajja, since a year, also is on auto mode, so it is very
Mhm.
smooth things that it's functional. And we are around 21 people now across India, so everybody is kind of working with a same mission, that
Okay.
helping women, supporting women. In fact, when this lockdown happened, all the team members came up with a 1 minute video talking
Mhm.
about what you can work on yourself, and that was wonderful. Like each alternate day we used to put a video,
Uh-huh.
1 minute, 1.5 minutes, and women used to come and tell us that this has helped us, or यहाँ पे ये
Mhm.
बोला हमको बहुत अच्छा लगा. So yeah, this is
Mhm.
something which we do. So that's straight connect we create with women around.
Okay. So from what I understand, you started off with two people.
Yes,
Lajja was started with two,
yes.
and now you are at 21. Now, while you're saying that consultants had come in and you had a strategic, very intentional change of uh, patterns of acting, uh, how easy was it, this kind of transition from moving from that I will take all decisions to, so moving from a person centric to a process centric company, so to say?
So it wasn't so easy for my team members per se. It was a little difficult because everybody, Lajja, the space is created for the team in such a way that you grow within, right,
Okay.
from me to each team member. So when the strategy and process was put up on place, it was little
Mhm.
difficult for each one of us, including my team members, right?
Okay.
Because impromptu things nahi ho rahi thi. It was everything was planned, strategized, and then it was like a process set. So hierarchy set ho rahi thi. Then a core team was set to take decisions. Now I'm also not a part of the core team, so I only concentrate on
Okay.
the growth. There's a decision maker team who takes decision on various. So whoever team member has an idea, now there is a team who works on taking decisions. Okay, so it's kind of everything was hierarchy was placed, a growth setup was done, the finances was put on place, how to create self-sustainable, because it's not monetized much. So put it
Mhm.
on a self-sustainable mode, creating a earning for all the team members wasn't easy at all. Uh, I had around 7 to 8 months were pretty stressful for me. I had to leave out my training completely, and I was totally into Lajja. except my psychology practice, was nothing I was doing for that 6 to 7 months. It was all setting up process and strategies at Lajja. And thankfully, all the team members did support. It was difficult for them as well, but everybody
Mhm.
supported, and now everybody's loving this change because it has gone so easy for everybody now.
So it's taken you a good 7 months to move
Yes,
from person
it
centric
did.
to
It was
process
difficult, and
centric.
उसमें हमारा बीच में तत्व भी आ जाता है, तो like it was kind of all of us were juggling with time, strategies, processes, and all.
So now that you have totally made Lajja on kind of auto mode, how does it benefit you?
Okay, so if I talk in terms of finances, no benefit. But if I talk about the other benefits, it's numerous. I get connected with such beautiful people, Elroy. Trust me, जो हमें नहीं पता है कि छोटे से गांव में बैठ के भी अच्छा सा काम कर रहे हैं, but we never get to know because we are here in Bombay, that too in
True.
some space wherein we don't venture out at such places. So I get to connect with wonderful people. Each
Mm-hmm.
day I get to know new traits about my team members as well, right? And as I mentioned that Lacha is kind of now created a space for team also, so that you can grow within the team. So they would come with lovely
Okay.
ideas, we discuss and we put it on auto mode. So you get to learn so many things, and we have two young members who are pretty in
Mm-hmm.
25, 26, or one is only
Okay.
20. So this generation, me in 40s, the other few people in 45 and 50s. So, kind of three level of people, we work and we talk and we learn from each other. So it's a beautiful phase. I talk to around 10,000, 11,000 women I'm directly connected with. So each day
Wow.
you get to, know so many things. So if I put finances and if I put other benefits, I'm sure the other benefits is just your, I mean, it's beautiful. The journey is beautiful.
I'm sure it must be. So, I mean, it's an astronomical figure. I mean, 11,000 people being impacted directly by you. I mean, that's kudos to you.
So I would not say directly by me. I would say it's a teamwork. At Lajja, everything is teamwork.
That's nice. So, so now, of course, your psychology practice being there, uh, let's understand how, or rather, what has been your trainer's journey. How did you get into training? I mean, you were always doing psychology, so how did training come into play?
So when I studied psychology, Elroy, I was no keen to take it up as a practice at all. Practicing
Okay.
psychologist. So even if you see in my profile, for some years I didn't practice psychology. But I started with a school wherein I was heading a cultural segment, and kind of around 800 teachers, and a lot of number of students were under my profile. So that's how I
Mm-hmm.
started, and that was all about training teachers and talking to students. So psychology was helping me to connect with them. And while I was training teachers and all, I used to go and even talk to a few colleges wherein they have their upcoming programs. That's initial
Mm-hmm.
programs were started by them. I would not say upcoming; they were already initiated, which was on entrepreneurship, which was on development, performance skills, soft skills. So I used to also they used to invite me, looking to my work at the
Mm-hmm.
school, and I used to conduct sessions there, and that's how I got into training. And then I took my certifications because I thought that yes, it's working out for me, and my psychology background always helped me because it helps me to connect, understand a other person very well. So that was working for me. And then I jumped into the corporate world. I was there as a learning and development head for 4 years, heading a team of 18,
Mm-hmm.
moving around everywhere in India. So pantaloons and
Mm-hmm.
everybody. So it was such a beautiful journey that automatically carved. I didn't have to actually
Huh.
work after it so much.
That's nice. So now, do you basically have clientele which is through vendors, or do you have all your clientele through direct sources? How do you manage the match out here?
My 90% are direct sources. So wherever trainings I have conducted are my recurring clients. So they come back to me, and I've been constantly working with this last 8 years or 9 years. Few companies who always call me for certain programs. So certain products of mine, I would say, they always want to have it from me. Vendors, none other than I would not call them vendors, but Asif and Arun sir have been the ones who have given work, to be more precise. But I'm not listed on any vendors at all, at all. It's just
Okay.
my direct connect and word of mouth, or somebody must have seen somewhere my training, or somebody has attended my TED talk, or somebody has met me and referred. That's how it's working for me.
All right. So today, I guess many of the trainers, whether they're newcomers or even maybe around 5 years, 10 years down the line, one challenge that they face is getting recurring business. So, what would you advise them? I mean, how can they actually ensure that they get into this space of recurring business?
So I wouldn't say I would advise, but I would surely share what I did. So when the clients used to come to me some few years back, yeah,
Okay.
um, since I'm not the breadwinner, probably I had that liberty to take decisions that way, but the product and the content had been developed by me. So I had full liberties to work on it. What I used to do is I used to do detailed study about the organization, the work profile, or
Mm-hmm.
the segment the organization is into, right? So it's say it be IT, or say it be a pharma company, or whatever, into
Mm-hmm.
constructions or whatever. A detailed study I used to do, and when I used to go for my first meet is where the connect used to happen, because there was a mutual talk happening. It was not just one-sided communication, it was kind of a two-sided communication, right? Second thing I used to
Mm-hmm.
ensure that I used to do my training need analysis quite in detail. So when after training need analysis, when I used to sit with the department head or talk about with the founders or the company heads, they would like the
Mm-hmm.
approach, it was the approach that was undertaken. So this has worked for me.
Okay.
The third thing has worked for me in the initial stages, that I have compromised certain times on the fees. So the energy
Okay.
exchanges I have kept a little flexible initially, right? Now after this many years, I would say, okay, this is the this is the amount. But
Mm-hmm.
that time I used to have it little flexible. And the fourth what worked for me is, um, now I don't know what, but around 10 to 11 companies, Elroy, you wouldn't believe, but जब भी मैं वहीं पे ट्रेनिंग लेने जाती हूँ, उनका स्टैगरिंग होता है, उनका कुछ ना कुछ उस दिन डिफर हो जाता है, तो हमारा ऑनलाइन से एकदम ऑफलाइन हो जाता था. So
Okay.
somehow I had kept myself flexible and not been so sure ki or fixed about my ideas or my strategies. I used to keep myself flexible कि online है, sorry, classroom है, नहीं हो रहा है, let me take it outside. So there are
Mm-hmm.
times when I had been to few companies wherein staggering tha, powerpoints nahi chal rahe the, and on
Mm-hmm.
the spot I had to create a plan B and do it outside in the garden and all, and that's how trainings have happened, right? But those are the ones who have come back to me, and since years now I'm conducting training with them, and only for particular two products, right? So I feel a little flexibility, understanding the organization, taking a deep interest, and with a view of giving your best, that works. And not kind of having a motto of just taking. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
giving more. It's kind of a giver's gain when you're initially starting up, or entering or taking up a client, a new client, I would say. That has
All
always
right.
worked for me.
Interesting. So the way I would understand it, the very fact that because the clients are direct and because you've created your own content, I'm sure that has given you the power to be a little more flexible.
Yes,
So
yes,
you have
absolutely.
plan A and plan B already in your mind, vis-a-vis someone who would have a rigid kind of structure that no, this is what I need to do.
That goes very
So
different.
yes, that's nice. So now, off late, of course, I've been seeing you on all the Learners Conclave groups, or whether it be even LinkedIn or Facebook and all that. You've been doing something or the other. All right, either it's under Lajja or RINS, but you have been doing something at very short intervals. All right, Uh, it actually brings me to this point that with so many things being done, do all of them reach a successful end?
um Not exactly. Not specifically when I'm working with women. So at Lajja, there are certain times that we had a crowd of even only 5 or 6 people. but still we
Okay.
have not lost hope. We always felt that at least 5 or 6 ko kuch benefit ho rahi hai and we are going to go ahead with it. So not every time we've got success. That has happened. In fact, I just shared a few days before with a trainer friend that all my webinars, it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
80 people, 90 people, 200 people. And recently one webinar happened wherein I had just 2 participants. Okay, so
Okay.
it happens, and I
Mm-hmm.
used that, and luckily those participants were somebody who wanted to put a structure on place for their training
Okay.
programs, and they were just understanding
Uh-huh.
how do I conduct the training program. And I actually said,
Okay.
I made all presenters and I really did one-to-one with them and helped them out to set their process on place and their program process on place. So it came out very beautifully. I feel not every time you get success, but you need to keep that hope, and you need to keep your spirits high. If you lose that, I'm sure it's going to affect you only. I mean,
True. So you have suddenly, I wouldn't say suddenly, but you've got active on social media in the recent past. All right. How has that benefited you, or did it benefit you as a result of which you actually continued with it?
frankly speaking, I wasn't much active on social media till 2016. Okay, so for Facebook also, LinkedIn was there. For
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, I never used to be more than putting up my thoughts or connecting something which my child has done or making a post out of it.
Uh-huh.
It was Asif who was after my back to do very, kind of focused work on social media. So it was after my back, kind of all the time. I still remember he used to give me a call and say, आज पोस्टिंग क्यों नहीं हुई है, और ही वुड आल्सो से 3 दिन के बाद ये क्यों डाला तुमको, ये इसकी क्या जरूरत थी. सो ही इज इवन डन दिस टू द एक्सटेंट दैट लज्जा की वेबसाइट हुई है. I want to say that thanks to him. I've called him up and said many a times, because he was the one who was after me to start Lajja ka website. Right? LinkedIn, I
Okay.
was initially very active. Then beach mein face aaya when I was concentrating on my child and Lajja, wherein I was little laid back kind of on LinkedIn, which again I've picked up from 2018. And I must say, a lot of work happens from LinkedIn. So it's
Okay.
consistency and persistent. Again, 2019 में थोड़ा कम हो गया था, वापस 2020 से वापस मैंने शुरू कर दिया. So बीच बीच में phases आते हैं, but I ensure that my consistency doesn't affect my postings and all.
Okay. All right. So another thing which was quite prominent, which had a deep impact, at least for me, because I was quite proud of the fact that you've actually reached the national level, wherein you were handling a platform that dealt with issues related to women, a kind of women helpline. Tell us something about that.
So, Shweta Shalini ji, who is the spokesperson with BJP, uh, she had
Mm-hmm.
connected, and she in fact wanted to have me as a part of a social media handling, wherein we talk and connect with many people while this lockdown happened. This lockdown is not easy for families, children, women to handle. It's not easy, right? So we, through her social media handle, we connected to lakhs
Correct.
and lakhs of people through Facebook, through Insta, through Twitter, with a wonderful support from Shweta Shalini ji and her team. We used to go live, we used to talk about issues with pertaining to esteem, pertaining to anger issues. We used to get, I personally got a founder of a school on board, talking and discussing about things. We used to talk about gratitude. So in short, it was all about to make their journey easy during this lockdown. Okay, because being a psychologist and specifically working in the space of children, there were a lot of calls I used to get for two major things. I used to get the calls for is one was for domestic violence and the other was for children's behavior, to the extent that there were panic attacks happening, anxiety issues happening. कोई बच्चा रास्ते पे जा रहा था और उसको अनकॉन्शियस हो गया ड्यू टू सिवियर एंजाइटी. So ये सब भी आया था फेस initially, because it was difficult for everybody to have to get yourself locked in four walls, not going out, not meeting people. And we are so used to meeting people. if you check me, I have never seen this situation ever before. So it was difficult for everybody. Luckily, through this social media takeover, what we did for 14 days, we could really help out so many people for how to deal with their children, how to deal with the family, how to make yourself happy as a woman, and if you are happy, you make other people happy within the family. So it was kind of all the stocks happening each and every day. कुछ नहीं था तो एक वीडियो ही चला जाता था. So
Okay.
it was kind of, yes, it, as an expert, if you see, it was little difficult because each day going online and talking and staying connected with so many people was little difficult.
Mhm.
But yes, the impact and the feedback what we got through this, and what's wonderful, and Shweta Shalini ji ma'am is now working over, she and her team is working on creating a white paper out of it, which is going to be
Mhm.
submitted to the government. So this is a
Okay.
wonderful achievement. I would feel that through a small support of hers and her team, we could make difference in the lives of people.
All right. So now this happened somewhere around March or early April.
Yes, no, yes, March and April, both the months we were doing this.
All right. So now that the lockdown seems to be increasing and it's not really come to an end yet, at least in certain cities and urban areas, uh, do you see a kind of rise in the number of cases, or are there any specific trend of cases that you are observing that are coming in specifically from corporates who employees who end up working from home?
So initially it was a little less. It was more on the children's front. But
Okay.
of late, I'm observing that from April, around say mid of April, there's a rise in adults. So the rise of the cases I'm receiving, the calls I'm receiving through adults who are employees. Now, see, there are certain challenges these people are also facing. So there are a lot of laid off happening. When you're working from home, there is no time limit. So you start your office by 9, 9:30, but it's going till 10, 11, 12 in the night as well. So there is no break. Again, you and a computer, only two people are just there with each other throughout the day. You're not meeting other people. You are not shaking hands with other people. You're not going down while
True.
somebody is smoking. You're just not going there and connecting, right? Or you're not able to talk to your boss. So everything is between you and a computer. So yes, there are a lot of stress related issues coming up, a
Mhm.
lot of anxiety. There are a lot of corporates who have gone for a 10%, 20% salary cut as well, because it's difficult for everybody to sustain. That's what's the news I'm getting it from the industry. So the families who have a single bread earner, it goes
Okay.
difficult for them as well. So there are a lot of instances when these employees are losing, or these people, the men are losing their patience, a lot of anger issues, and because of that the women are suffering, of where women are losing job. There's a lot of kind of too many disputes are arising these days because of all the scenario that is happening. And yes, they do call out. I don't deal with adults so much unless I'm taking a session with corporates, but when I talk about my psychology, I only deal with children. But yes, they do connect, they do call, they sometimes just want to connect with you and talk. Sometimes talks also helps. So
Mhm.
that's all the scenario, the market scenario at the moment, Elroy.
Okay. So, um, while companies are really doing a lot, I mean, because as part of a training agency, I would say that corporates are trying their level best to have their employees engaged.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah.
so that engagement is done by either having them entertained, or it might be through continuous upskilling. In your experience, do you feel that this approach is enough? Is only upskilling and kind of entertaining the employee, is that enough to hold them uh, to what do you say, optimum performance levels in such kind of troubled times?
To an extent, yes. But I was also suggest that when so many companies, and I'm really glad that the founders, the owners are taking so much care about their employees, or doing a lot of employee engagement as well online. I would also, this scenario, I would also suggest that it's good to have wherein a family is involved, because working on a single person would not make much difference, it's because afterwards, after the session is over, the person is going to come back to the family only. So it would be wonderful if the whole family is involved. Let me give an example. So recently I happened to conduct a session for a jewelry company, which I'm doing a series of workshops for them. Okay, but now at the end, in one or two sessions, they want me to even have the whole family involvement, and where I'm going to talk about understanding each other. I'm going to talk about relationships. I'm going to talk about overcoming anxiety, or understanding anxiety when or other person is undergoing anxiety. How do you understand that? So this is something which I'm going to talk about when the family is involved, and when I say family, it's okay if a child is not there, but husband and wife has to be there, because it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. And few things wherein a child's involvement is also there, where the children are also involved in the activities, that would be wonderful,
Hmm.
because it's kind of a holistic upscaling happening for a employee. It's just not one person
Okay.
doing, it's kind of overall things happening. And I see there are a couple of corporates who are doing this, so it's wonderful. I mean, kudos to them that they've come up with this segment where the family is involved.
All right. So you believe that if it's not only about one person who needs to be addressed, but the entire support structure that is there at home, because at the end of it,
Absolutely.
of course, frustration is cropping up at every level. I mean, with two people working at home, I'm sure both of them have their problems, the children, the parents, everyone at home. So I guess over time, frustration is also building up. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a great approach by certain corporates. Tell me one thing. Now that we know that, okay, many employees are there at home, and they've had tough times. Okay, we have to accept that they're facing tough times. But how is it that, you know, can we give them some? Can we share with them some tips, some activities that they could do to make sure that the negativity and the gloom around the place doesn't affect?
Oh, yes, why not? So, first thing I would obviously say that it's very important for everybody to accept a situation. Nonetheless, it's easy for me to say. I understand you might say that it's easy for me to say, but no, it's difficult for every human being at the moment. And this is a scenario. So you need to
Hmm.
be thinking from a perspective of resilience, and now what? So how do you overcome, or how do you accept the situation? Few things which you can do it for your own self is, every day morning, just give yourself a hug. you know when you give yourself a hug, there is a beautiful connect happening between your with you and yourself. And it says, automatically it says that, okay, come what may, I'm there for you. It makes a huge difference on your mindset. So start
Hmm.
doing it. It's just the time and you need to hug yourself. Something more
Hmm.
what you can do is, at the end of the day, your family, you can just put up a music and just move around, move. So movement, when I'm talking about movement, it's not dance, it's a movement. What your body wants to do, it just let your body do it. It can be dance, it can be just a little clap or anything. It's
Hmm.
just that you need to move. Music works on your subconscious mind. So when the music is on and when you're just moving, what happens is that you let go a lot of things, and you are in here and now. And when you're in here and now, what works is that there's a connect happening. It is a mind body connect happening. And then if you
Okay.
sleep, or you can, if you're doing this in the morning, and if you start your work, it's beautiful. I mean, you get to reach out your goals, what you've planned for your own self, or you feel very happy within. Next, one more thing what you can do is, all the people who are listening today, start writing what emotions and feelings you come across each day. So probably
Hmm.
every day, make it a family affair. Everything at
Okay.
that moment should be a family affair. Don't sit alone and do it. Involve your family as much as your family knows you and you know your family. There's a beautiful bonding you are creating, and ye
Hmm.
time dobara nahi aane wala. So you need to create
True.
that beautiful bonding. So
Hmm.
sit with a paper and pen, or probably have a beautiful chart paper, decorated, beautiful colored one, and write it. What are the emotions and feelings as a person you have come across the during the day? which is recurring, and which is one thing which you like to carry forward for the next day. So each day, probably you can concentrate on the learning. Every day, each individual learns a lot and lot of things. So probably one learning you want to carry forward, one emotion you want to carry forward, and you will also understand your pattern. What are the emotions taking over you each day? Probably once you realize, you can start understanding and be aware of the emotions and feelings you are undergoing each day. And the last but not the least, play music, close your eyes, and just concentrate on the breathing till the time the music is over. It's the simplest way of doing a meditation, which is called musical meditation. It's surely going to help you. So these four things, even if you start doing it, your days go beautiful. You don't get stressed. You don't get
Mhm.
anxious because you are in here and now. You're not thinking about the future. You're not thinking about the past. You are just in the present. And that's all what you need to do at the moment, because none of us knows what is going to happen in the future. So why not stay in
Very true.
present?
Very true. So, of course, and viewers, I guess you should believe what Riddhi says, because she's also certified in dance movement therapy.
Oh, yes.
So yes, it's going to be. I'm sure it's a valid suggestion. Let's not kind of dilute that. And of course, there are a lot of programs that we do together, and that is through Learners Conclave,
Yes.
and that addresses women employees. So
Yes.
we see that in the past you've done a lot of work that addresses the issues that are particularly faced by women employees. Can you share some light on those issues, which, how we can actually ensure that uh, they have to be taken care of, and that has to be taken care of right now?
Yes. So what happens is, for a woman, she puts herself as the last priority, at the last pedestal. If you see the even a ladder,
Mhm.
puts herself as the last pedestal. Why? Because she feels that she has a lot of things to handle: her professional work, her child, her husband, the kitchen, the other household work, and plus her professional work, which is kind of taxing for her each day, right? In all this stuff, what happens is that her mental health is not taken care of. Her mental
Okay.
wellness is compromised. Her mental health is compromised. I would say wellness is the wrong word here. Her mental
Mhm.
health is compromised. That
Okay.
might reason to body aches. That might reason to result to constant headache. Lot of stress, lot of she might lose on her temper many a times, and that might lead to other issues within the family or within the uh, other relations as well, right? But if you analyze, she isn't at fault. She has multiple things. She's wearing multiple hats at the moment, handling house and work front and both. And trust me, when it is 24 into 7, your better half, your children, and if you're in a joint family, if your in-laws, there are too much demands happening within the family. So she is the one who needs to cope up with it. If there are ailing in-laws, then it's really very difficult. And I have cases where women have come back and told me that I'm done. I'm not just able to manage, right? So if the corporates or the heads of companies, if they give some self-care programs for the women, where they can understand how to do a work-life balance, but not a proper work-life balance, but looking to the scenario which is at the moment and help them out to sort this out. Or parenting, how to help your children. What are the tips? How to keep your children engaged with
Mhm.
minimal efforts? Okay, this is something,
Mhm.
if that can be discussed with them. Or self-care, something which they can do it for themselves so that they stay happy. If they stay happy, a lot of other things within the family is going to be good and sorted, right? So
Yeah.
this things is really needs to be addressed: their anxiety, their stress, their parenting style, some giving sharing some easy tips, or self-care for women, um, how to balance the work and life at the moment, because both is demanding at the moment. So how to balance that, this is something which needs to be catered to at the moment for women's stuff I'm talking about specifically.
So, is guilt also adding to the plight out here?
Um, Guilt factor, I would say, well, they were working and full time they were out. That was much higher than at the moment. Right now, they're satisfied that the child is with them. But yes, they also feel that they're not able to spend time because their professional commitments are too much. or their housework is that commitment is too
It's
much. But
overwhelming,
guilt
yes.
factor is just not so much as in comparison to when they were going to office, when the lockdown was not there. That time it was very difficult for a woman to accept leaving the child, 4 months, 5 months old child, and going to work and coming
Mhm.
late night. That वो एक अलग सा feeling आती है, अलग सी feeling
Okay.
आती
All right. So, I mean, it's been a wonderful interaction that we've had, and I'm sure that there's a lot that the HR and training fraternity that's watching this show, I'm sure there's a lot that you can now think about
absolutely.
because with a lot of programs being done, I guess if we also take a look at this aspect wherein the entire family is involved, uh, maybe we can help the employees get a more holistic uh, remedy to the current situation. So, thank you very much, Riddhi, for
Thank you,
all
Elroy.
your help.
Thank you. In fact, thanks to Learners Conclave, thanks to Asif, and thanks to you for having me here. And I just loved, this discussion. It was beautiful.
Our pleasure to have you. And all you viewers, thank you very much for being with us. As I had requested before, like, share, make sure that all your friends, colleagues, family, everyone should benefit from these kind of conversations that I'm sure are going to impact. So we are done with our second episode and hope to see all of you once again on the third episode, which is going to be aired live next Friday at 8 p.m. So, Riddhi, thank you very much
Thank you,
for
Elroy.
being on our show. And
Thank
thank you once again, all our viewers and the LC community. Thank you very much for being with us and supporting us always. So, have a good night and a great weekend. See you all next Friday at 8 p.m. at Conversations That Impact.